Okay, so what we've got here is a breakdown of the old style long Max-Flo, pretty much set up like a remote line regulator. First of all, if we're going to go ahead and take out the spring cap, which also is your velocity adjuster. So inside your spring cap, take it apart, you've got your spring guide pin, your spring guide, your spring, bumper, and your filter inside the spring guide. Okay, so that is your spring cap. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and go to the inlet portion of the regulator. You're going to want to use a 3/8 Allen wrench for this, and go ahead and unscrew it. Alright, and with that, out pops your poppet guide with a size 1370 O-ring around the outside of it. Alright, and out slides your entire poppet assembly. Okay, and with that poppet assembly, you've got your spring retainer and filter on top. You've got your poppet spring, your poppet, and your seat base and seat cap for your poppet. Also, along with that, you've also got your seat O-ring, which, if you can see, rests really close right inside your regulator. Okay? Now if we move back to the top, to where the spring guide was, the spring cap, use a pair of pliers right here. You've got a low pressure piston with a size 1475 O-ring right on the outside. Now, I had a leak that was going on that came out right outside of the retaining nut. What I figured out is that the leak was not coming from this small O-ring right here, but it was actually coming from a size 14 O-ring that was missing. So there you've got your Max-Flo long style regulator breakdown. Now to put it back together, you go ahead and let's get your spring cap in first. Drop down your size 1475 O-ring right into the middle of your output pressure side. Alright, then you take your your low pressure piston, and you want to make sure that you lube this O-ring, which is a size 1475 O-ring, right on the outside. Very important. Now this is already lubed, so I'm not going to go lube it. So that gets placed right inside. Now to go along with that, I'm going to go ahead and take my spring cap. I'm going to put my filter, bumper, spring, alright, I'm going to put my spring guide and my spring guide pin. Now if you look at your spring guide pin, you've got one side that's rounded and one side that's flat. You want to make sure that your rounded side is facing up. Now go ahead, put those together, a little bit of pressure, make this spin together tight, and tightening that increases or decreases your velocity. Okay, if we move to the other side, now I'm going to go ahead and take my seat base O-ring. There's a groove made for it right on the inside. Take my O-ring pick and make sure that's seated nicely right inside. I'm going to go ahead and assemble my seat cap with my poppet. And put my poppet spring right on top, and my spring retainer and filter right on top of that. Okay, and that slides right in to the top. Okay, and on top of that goes my poppet guide with its 1370 O-ring on the outside. Alrighty. And On top of that goes my retaining nut, and gets screwed back in with my 3/8 Allen wrench. Alright, and this is your remote setup for a old style Max-Flo regulator, long style.